According to all the rules of whiskey snobbery, I'm not supposed to admit I like this, but I do. Welcome to another episode of Erik Wait Whiskey Studies, and in this video I'm going to do a review of the Dewar's blended Scotch Whisky Illegal Smooth Mezcal Cask Finish. Alright, so about a year ago or so, the Scotch Whisky Association gave approval for tequila and mezcal cask to be used in aging or finishing Scotch whiskey. So ever since I heard about that, I've been really curious. Now, you're not familiar with mezcal. Mezcal is essentially like a smoked tequila. What they do in production is they take the piña, the very heart of the agave plant, and they roast it, usually by putting it into a pit and roasting it overnight. The result is you get a tequila that seems as if it came from Islay. Now, they're not quite as intensely smoky as, say, an Islay Scotch whiskey, but it definitely makes its presence. So, to familiarize myself with this particular brand, I went and bought a bottle of 375 of the Illegal Reposado Mezcal. Goes for about $43 for a 375. So, before I get into this whiskey, here are my notes. Dewar's Illegal Smooth Mezcal Cask Finished Scotch Whisky. It's a blended Scotch made from malt and grain of up to 40 single malts and grain whiskeys. It was double aged in 2 different casks for 8 years, then finished in a third cask and ex-illegal brand mezcal barrels from Oaxaca, Mexico. It's bottled at 40% alcohol by volume and retails for anywhere between $22 and $25 in the United States. So I gotta admit, you know, if you think of whiskey snobbery, right? We're supposed to like single malts more than blended. We're supposed to like higher ABV, where this is only 40%. We're supposed to prefer bottles that have corks. This has a screw cap, right? This is not exactly, you know, what would you put up there with the fine, you know, Scotch whiskeys that we're supposed to, you know, sit and rave about and talk about for hours and hours and hours. And yet I have to admit, I really like this whiskey, right? It's tropical on the nose. It has loads of vanilla. It's got pineapple. It's got apple. It's probably got a little bit of coconut. It has some cinnamon. The smoke, it's sort of a low to medium intensity, so it's not a big, you know, puff of smoke in your face like a lot of Islay single malt Scotch whiskeys, but it's definitely there. There's a little bit of like a toasted marshmallow character. It definitely smells, I would say, like candy on the nose. So imagine if you took a marshmallow, you put it over a fire, just when it starts to turn brown, just a little bit, no, not black, just a little bit of toasty brown, starts to melt a little bit, and then you took your pineapple and your apple and maybe your coconut, and then loads of vanilla, and put that together, and that's essentially what you get on the nose. Now, on the palate, it's sweet. It's on the sweeter side. It is silky. It's smooth. It actually has a little bit of weight to it and some nice viscosity to it. It's got a little bit of weight to it. Sort of a creamy, very creamy mouth feeling. It doesn't have like a lot of layers. It doesn't have a lot of complexity to it. There isn't a ton of development to it. What you get in the front and the middle is the same thing you get into the finish, which is a bomb of vanilla mixed in with those tropical notes, the pineapple, coconut, maybe a little bit of pear, a little bit of apple to it. That marshmallow character is definitely there. And with this sort of a nice puff of smoke. It doesn't dominate the palate whatsoever, but complements everything really well. Now, from what people said, you know, on the interwebs, is most people think that this is, you know, intended for making cocktails and stuff like that. But I gotta admit, I like it as is. I like it on ice, you know, and yet it doesn't meet the criteria that whiskey snobs are looking for. It's not a single malt. It's only 40 ABV. It's a, you know, it's a blended Scotch. It's sweet. It's somewhat simple. But I think that little bit of smokiness gives it some interest. It gives us some character, something a little bit different than everything else that's out there. Now, the challenge is I don't know what to score this because there's nothing else like it. When you're rating whiskeys, you're comparing them with other whiskeys within their sort of their camp, their style, and the way in which they're made. But unless there's something else out there, I don't know what to rate it by. Now, perhaps some other distillery or a producer down the road is going to make a more intensely flavored whiskey using mezcal. Perhaps they'll sort of try to make something that's a little bit more mirroring something you would get from Isla. Perhaps they'll do a single malt. Well, no, using Mezcal Cask is really new in the market, so we really don't know what's going to come down the road. And maybe down the road, some really nice, fine, high quality single malt scotches, at 50 ABV or above, using Mezcal Cask, with the layers of complexity might come along and just blow this away and make this look sort of, simple and weak in comparison. All right, so maybe I'll re-review this when something like that comes along. But in the meantime, I think it's delicious. I like it on ice. I like it neat. It's not something that's mind-blowingly complex or is going to really, make you think about it. But hey, after dinner, you want something like a smoky vanilla pudding, a little bit of tropical fruit thrown in. There you go. That's it. It's probably really, really good in cocktails as well, so I'll have to play around with it. But for only $23, $24, I mean, what the heck? Pull the trigger and pick up a bottle and let me know what you think. If you already had this, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you see one of these are going to be widely available, found in your major, whiskey and wine shop stores, your chain stores. Should be easy to get a hold of. Giving it a score, I don't know. I'll give it a 87. What the heck? It doesn't have enough complexity and layers of flavor to get it up above 90. But I think it's more interesting than something that's average. And so that's where I'm going to go with the point score. All right. If you're one of my Patreons, I want to thank you very much for joining my little group, supporting the channel. If you like my videos and you have yet to subscribe, I want to ask you to subscribe. Ring the bell to be notified when I go live or post a new video. And until next time, cheers. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and check out these other whiskey videos.